Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into a philosophy that is really ambitious. It's this high-octane idea that's all about radical self-preparedness.
It really is. It starts with a pretty intense thought experiment.
Right. It asks you to imagine something. What if you knew with absolute certainty that everything you've ever wanted, the dream job, the perfect partner, all of it, was coming to you in exactly 3 months?
That 90-day window,
Yeah.
it suddenly becomes this non-negotiable deadline. And that's the whole premise of this material we're looking at. It's a challenge, really.
But challenged to become the person who's actually ready to receive that kind of blessing.
Exactly.
And the philosophy here is, well, it's tough. It basically says that if you don't do the work, if you aren't that best possible version of yourself by the deadline and you miss your shot, you only have yourself to blame.
It forces you to take immediate, intense action.
Yeah.
But it's not just about action. It's about a complete internal restructuring.
So that's our mission for this deep dive, to really synthesize the specific strategies for that 90-day period.
Yep. We're talking radical internal focus, building unshakable self-trust, setting almost ironclad boundaries. And maybe the most important part, doing the emotional work to clear out old baggage.
Baggage that would otherwise sabotage your success when it arrives?
Without a doubt.
I think the best place to start, maybe the most challenging, is with energy reclamation. Because if you're preparing for something massive, you can't afford to be leaking power everywhere.
And that leads us straight to this idea of the let them boundary.
Okay, so the let them theory. I know this has gotten a lot of traction, thanks to thinkers like Mel Robbins.
It has. And at its core, it's about making a conscious decision to withdraw your energy from situations and from people that you just can't control.
Especially the ones that are actively draining you.
Exactly. I mean, the examples are always pretty stark. Maybe it's a family member with an addiction who refuses help.
Yeah.
Or, a partner who just keeps choosing chaos over you.
And you've put in the time, the emotion, you've tried to fix it 100 times.
Right. The let them approach just says, step back completely. Call all of that energy back to yourself and let them face the consequences of their own choices.
And the material says this has 2 immediate results for you. The first is about power.
Instantly. The second you pull back, you become more powerful because all that emotional energy that was just scattered everywhere, worrying, arguing, trying to fix things, it's all consolidated back inside you.
And the second rationale is, it's a little brutal, but it's a test. It's really revealing.
It's the ultimate test. When you stop intervening, you see very clearly who that person really is and how much they actually respect you.
So if the thought of losing you motivates them to finally change, then okay. They value the relationship.
Right. But if they just keep going down that same destructive path even after you've stepped back, well, they've shown you their truth. They've revealed themselves.
And that forces you to ask that really hard question.
Is this the person I want by my side when my dream life shows up in 3 months?
If the answer is no, then the boundary has to hold.
What this is really doing is it's reframing the whole idea of intervention. The material suggests that when you're constantly trying to solve someone else's problems, you're taking on a burden that was never meant for you.
You might even be getting in the way of their own growth.
You could be. And I know this is a tough concept. It sounds a little like abandonment, especially if you see yourself as a caregiver.
It does sound harsh. How do you square that with compassion?
Well, the argument is that it's actually the highest form of self-compassion. It's about recognizing that you just can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved.
And trying to will destroy you.
It will. And this is where that famous water glass analogy comes in. It illustrates it so perfectly.
Oh yeah, let's detail that. It's such a powerful visual.
It really is.
Yeah.
So imagine your energy, your life force, your well-being. It's a full glass of water.
Okay.
And you see a loved one whose glass is always empty, because of their choices, their struggles, whatever. So out of love, you pour a little of your water into their glass.
Just a little at first.
Just a little.
Yeah.
But they keep coming back. They need more. And so you keep pouring. Until your glass is totally empty. You're left, as material says, empty, broken, and completely drained.
And you can't help anyone at that point, least of all yourself.
Right. But here's the really profound twist. The other person, the recipient, their glass is now full. But they don't stop demanding.
Why? Why do they keep coming back if they're full?
Because they've become dependent on your energy. The insight is that they do not feel alive on their own.
Wow.
They've outsourced their own vitality. They need your life force to live off of you. So that constant neediness isn't a compliment. It's not a sign you're loved.
It's a sign of emotional vampirism.
Exactly. It's a symptom of a deeply draining cycle. And the source material is very blunt about this. The author says every time they poured more into others than themselves, their life went downhill.
But the moment they focused on filling their own glass first...
Everything they wanted manifested, and fast.
So the key action for you, the listener, in these 90 days is self-saving. You have to stop trying to be the savior for everyone else and focus that energy on saving yourself.
It all comes back to that really painful but powerful anecdote where the speaker's mother just tells her, you can't even help yourself.
That's the wake-up call.
It has to be. You have to be whole first.
Okay, so let's shift to section 2. Once you've got your energy back, how do you build that unshakable confidence you'll need? And this starts with something the source material calls pure delusion.
It's a great phrase. It's really just about intentional self-perception. The delusion is realizing that this world, it's just not that serious.
Right. We walk around thinking everyone is judging our every little mistake.
But they're not. The reality is people are completely absorbed in their own lives. They're thinking about themselves, not you.
That tiny mistake you made, they'll forget it in a week.
Probably by the end of the day. The material points out that people forget major news scandals in a week. It gives you permission to be brave because the social risk is so much lower than our anxiety tells us it is.
And it's not just a mental game. There are physical things you can do.
Oh, absolutely. Physical presence is huge. Simply going to the gym. Specifically training your back so you walk straight.
That's an interesting detail.
It is, because so many of us walk a little hunched over, from desks and phones. And that projects low confidence. Just walking straight, shoulders back, sends a signal to your brain and to the world that you're powerful.
But the real core of this seems to be about self-trust. It's not just how you look, it's about keeping promises to yourself.
This is the absolute key. Think about it like a friendship. If your friend constantly lies to you, never shows up when they say they will, you stop trusting them.
Of course.
Well, the exact same thing happens inside you when you lie to yourself.
You say you'll go to the gym or you'll finish that project, and then you don't.
And every time you break that promise, you chip away at your own self-confidence. But the reverse is also true. If you promise you'll go to the gym and you show up, even if it's the worst workout ever and you only last 10 minutes.
You still kept the promise.
You kept the promise. And doing that consistently makes your confidence skyrocket because you are proving to yourself that you are reliable.
This connects directly to self-talk. The material calls it pure neuroscience.
Yeah, and it really is. It's about neuroplasticity. Your brain adapts to the input you give it. If for years you've been telling yourself, I'm so dumb, I'm so ugly, you've literally wired your brain to believe that.
So if you start actively replacing that with affirmations like, I'm so powerful, I'm so smart, it's going to feel fake at first.
Like it feel like a total lie. But with repetition, you are forcing your brain to carve out new positive neural pathways. You are literally reprogramming your own mind.
Which is why it's so critical to just stop the negative talk immediately.
You have to. The brain just takes the instruction. It doesn't know if you're joking.
And the final piece of this confidence puzzle is self-defense.
Yes. You cannot rely on anyone else to do it for you. If someone disrespects you, you have to speak back immediately. You have to project an energy that says, how did you even think you could talk to me like that?
Because if you don't, your inner child doesn't feel safe. You need to create this aura that discourages disrespect before it can even start.
It's vital.
Yeah.
You have to embody the idea that you are not someone to be messed with. That energy is a necessary shield for the life you're building.
Okay, let's move into section 3, which feels like the deepest part of this preparation. Creating your reality. This is all about emotional intelligence, trauma, and abundance.
And this emotional work is completely non-negotiable in the 90-day plan. You have to become emotionally intelligent, and that often means getting help, like therapy.
The material mentions platforms like BetterHelp, which makes sense because of the ease of access, the matching.
Right, the tools like journaling, group sessions. It can accelerate that process of self-knowledge.
Yeah.
And you need that self-knowledge to break what's called the repetition cycle.
Let's define that because it's a huge concept.
The repetition cycle is basically this psychological pattern where unresolved trauma, say from a parent, creates an energetic blueprint. Yeah. And if you don't address it at the root, that pattern will keep repeating itself in your life.
With teachers, friends.
And especially romantic partners. You subconsciously attract people who will reenact that original trauma over and over until you finally heal it.
The specific example given in the material is just, it's chilling.
It's incredibly personal. The author talks about how, as a child, her father would play dead on the floor just to see who would cry and give him attention.
Horrible.
Years later, as an adult, she comes home to find her partner laying on the floor, pretending to be dead. And he just laughs and says, "I wanted to see how much you would care if I was dead."
That is a terrifyingly literal repetition.
It's the exact same energy. She realized all these abusive patterns, like him calling her 20 times when she was out. It was her father's unmet needs just playing out through a different person.
And what happened when she addressed the original trauma?
She said she lost complete attraction to the partner. The spell was broken. She saw the relationship for what it was, not love, but trauma repeating itself.
And that realization is the shift from being a victim to being a creator.
Exactly. Being the victim is the easiest path, but you lose respect. The real power comes when you realize you are the creator of your own world, and your job is to build a world that you are happy to wake up to.
To do that, you need absolute clarity, clear vision and intention.
Yes, you can't be vague. It's not enough to say, "I want a good partner." You have to write down a list of traits. My man is funny. My man is intelligent. If it's about money, you need specific numbers. The universe can't deliver on a foggy request.
This clarity even extends to how you approach prayer or faith.
It does. The advice is to always start with gratitude. Before you ask for anything, open your heart and thank the universe for the small things. Thank it for your water bottle, for your cats, for your health.
It primes your mind for abundance.
It does.
Yeah.
And only then do you ask for what you need. Courage, money, whatever it is. And you must always ask for things that are for your highest good.
This is where it warns against praying for an ex to come back.
Right. That's considered not a good intention because it plays with their free will. And even if you get what you want, it'll likely be a karmic relationship.
Meaning a painful one designed to teach you a lesson, not bring you happiness.
Exactly. So you should pray for a partner who is aligned with your highest growth, because what you think you want right now might actually be your worst nightmare.
So it all comes down to the energy of belief. If you pour your faith into the idea that things will be amazing in 3 months, your actions will align with that.
It's the highest leverage point there is. Your faith is the blueprint for your reality.
Okay, finally, let's talk about generosity. This feels like the capstone to the whole 90-day preparation.
It really is. Generosity is the antidote to what the material calls a lack mindset. It says you should give to others, even when you have very little. Give away your last couple of dollars.
Because being stingy is a signal to yourself and the universe that you don't believe more is coming.
Precisely. It's a lack mindset. When you give freely, you're demonstrating faith in abundance.
Yeah.
And that energy gets rewarded. The idea is that any cent you've given will come back to you multiplied.
So this has been a really intensive deep dive. Let's try to summarize the key action items for that 3-month challenge. First, set those firm boundaries. Use the let them philosophy, fill your own glass first.
Second, build that unshakable confidence by keeping the promises you make to yourself. And defend your boundaries like your life depends on it.
And third, do the work. Address your repeating emotional traumas, create a crystal clear vision for your life, and approach everything with gratitude and an abundance mindset.
That's the formula.
As we close out, I want to come back to one final provocative thought from the source material, and it's about hitting rock bottom.
Yeah, this part is so powerful. It suggests that hitting rock bottom, that moment of total failure, is often the most beautiful thing that can happen to a person.
Why beautiful?
Because it's the point where the pain of staying where you are is finally greater than the pain it will take to change. It's the moment people are forced to wake up.
So the final lesson for you, the listener, is that you don't have to wait for that. You don't have to hit rock bottom. The monumental change you're looking for has to come from within.
And the work starts now, today.
Yeah.
Not in 3 months when the blessings arrive.
Use this 3-month countdown to force your own internal reckoning. Ask yourself, what painful truth do I need to face? What difficult boundary do I need to enforce so that when success finally arrives, I'm ready for it?
And you're not sabotaged by the old self you failed to leave behind.